In a distant corner of the galaxy, a powerful alien race known as the Apex Predators ruled with an iron fist. They were fierce and had a reputation for conquering worlds. Their massive ships glided through space, leaving trails of destruction in their wake. These aliens were strong, fast, and had advanced technology that made them nearly unstoppable. For centuries, they had traveled from one planet to another, claiming each as their own. One day, while scanning for new worlds to conquer, their leader, a tall and imposing figure named Zaloth, discovered a small blue planet. The planet was called Earth. Zaloth gathered his commanders for an important meeting. As they looked at the images of Earth on a large screen, he explained the plan. "Look at this world," he said, pointing at the vibrant green lands and vast blue oceans. "It is rich in resources. The humans living here are primitive. They have no idea of the power we hold. We will take this planet easily." The commanders nodded in agreement, their eyes gleaming with excitement. They thought of the riches they could claim from Earth, precious metals, fertile land, and more. Zaloth laid out the invasion plan with confidence. "We will send a fleet to land on their largest cities. They will surrender quickly when they see our might. We will show them who is in charge." As they prepared for the invasion, the Apex Predators equipped their ships with advanced weapons. Laser cannons, missile launchers, and energy shields were readied for battle. Zaloth believed that the humans would be no match for them. "We will strike hard and fast," he declared. "By nightfall, Earth will be ours." However, the Apex Predators did not understand the spirit of humanity. They thought humans were weak and unprepared for a fight. Little did they know that humans were full of surprises. On Earth, news of the impending invasion was slowly spreading. In a small town, a group of brave individuals started to gather. They were ordinary people, but they were united by a common goal: to protect their home. As rumors of the aliens began to circulate, the townsfolk started making plans. They met in secret, discussing ways to defend against the unknown threat. "Why should we let them take our planet?" one young man exclaimed. "We have to fight back. We can't just sit and wait for them to invade." His words inspired many. They began crafting makeshift weapons and gathering supplies. They set up lookout posts and formed a network to share information. While the Apex Predators saw Earth as an easy target, the humans were determined to show them that they were not to be underestimated. Meanwhile, Zaloth and his commanders were confident in their superiority. They laughed at the idea of humans planning any resistance. "These creatures are not warriors," one commander scoffed. "They will run away at the first sign of danger." As the day of the invasion approached, the Apex Predators felt invincible. Their ships filled the sky, casting dark shadows over the Earth below. They watched as cities lit up at night, oblivious to the storm heading their way. On the ground, the human defenders were ready. They knew the aliens had advanced technology, but they also understood their own strengths. Humans had ingenuity, creativity, and an unyielding spirit. They believed that no matter how strong their enemy was, they could come together to protect their world. The tension grew as the aliens prepared to land. Zaloth felt a thrill of excitement at the thought of conquest. He could already envision the riches and glory that awaited him. But as the countdown began, he had no idea that this would be the start of an epic clash between two very different species. The Apex Predators believed they would easily crush the humans. But beneath the surface, a fierce determination was brewing among the people of Earth. They were ready to fight for their planet, and they would show the Apex Predators that underestimating humanity would be their greatest mistake. As the ships descended toward Earth, the stage was set for a battle that would change everything. The Apex Predators thought they would claim an easy victory, but the humans were about to teach them a lesson they would never forget. The sun rose over the horizon, casting golden rays across the cities of Earth. People went about their daily lives unaware of the danger lurking above. High in the sky, the massive ships of the Apex Predators glided silently, their dark hulls blocking out the sunlight. Inside those ships, tension filled the air as the alien warriors prepared for their first contact with humanity. Zaloth, the leader of the Apex Predators, stood in the command center of his flagship. He watched the blue planet below with cold, calculating eyes. "Today we show these humans our power," he declared. His commanders nodded, eager for battle. As the ships descended, a small group of human defenders gathered in a hidden location. They were armed with makeshift weapons, their hearts pounding with fear and determination. The leader of this group, a young woman named Sarah, looked around at her friends. We have to stay strong, she urged. We can't let fear take over. This is our home, and we will protect it. Suddenly, the ground shook as the first alien ship landed in the center of a nearby city. A loud boom echoed through the streets, causing people to scream and run in every direction. The apex predators emerged from their ships, towering figures clad in shining armor. Their glowing eyes scanned the area, searching for signs of resistance. Zaloth stepped forward, a menacing figure leading his troops. "Humans!" he shouted, his voice booming. "We are the apex predators. Surrender now, and you will be spared. Resist, and you will face our wrath." The humans watched in shock and fear. Most of them had never seen anything like the apex predators before. But Sarah felt a fire ignite within her. "We can't let them intimidate us," she whispered to her friends. "We must show them we will fight!" With that, she rallied her group, and they began to move silently through the streets, using the buildings for cover. They knew they had the advantage of surprise. As the aliens advanced, the humans prepared their attack. Suddenly, a loud blast rang out. One of the human defenders had fired a makeshift weapon, hitting an alien soldier. The creature staggered back, surprised. In that instant, chaos erupted. The humans sprang into action, using their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. They threw rocks, fired homemade projectiles, and shouted battle cries. The apex predators were taken aback. "They fight!" one alien commander exclaimed, his surprise evident. The humans were not cowering in fear. They were fighting back with everything they had. Zaloth was furious. "Crush them!" he ordered. The aliens began to retaliate, firing their advanced weapons at the humans. Bright beams of energy lit up the streets as the battle escalated. Humans dodged and weaved, using every trick they knew to avoid the deadly blasts. As the fighting continued, something unexpected happened. Some of the alien soldiers began to falter. They had never faced such fierce resistance before. They were not prepared for the determination and bravery of the humans. In their arrogance, they had underestimated their enemy. Sarah led her group with courage, guiding them through the chaos. They worked together, coordinating their attacks and using their surroundings to outsmart the aliens. One by one, they began to take down the apex predators, creating a wave of shock among the alien ranks. "Push forward!" Sarah shouted, her voice cutting through the noise of battle. "We can win this!" The humans fought hard, their spirits lifting with each small victory. The aliens, once so confident, started to feel doubt creeping in. Zaloth could see the tide of battle turning. "Regroup!" he shouted, but the fear in his voice was unmistakable. As the first day of battle unfolded, it became clear that this would not be the easy victory the apex predators had expected. The humans were proving to be fierce warriors, ready to defend their home at any cost. In the heart of the chaos, Zaloth realized he had made a grave mistake. He had thought of Earth as a simple target, but it was anything but. The battle raged on, and the fight for Earth had only just begun. The apex predators would soon learn that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, and underestimating them would be their greatest error. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows across the battlefield, the clash between the apex predators and humans continued. Zaloth, the alien leader, watched the chaos unfold from his ship. His confidence was beginning to wane as he realized the humans were not the weaklings he had imagined. After the first day of fighting, the apex predators had suffered unexpected losses. Many of their soldiers lay injured or defeated. They had believed their advanced technology and superior strength would secure an easy victory. But the humans fought back with an intensity that surprised them all. In the heart of the city, Sarah and her group had set up a makeshift command center in a small building. They were exhausted but determined. "We have to keep fighting," Sarah said, rallying her friends. "We've shown them that we can stand up to their attacks. They think they're invincible, but we know our home better than they ever will." Meanwhile, Zaloth convened a meeting with his commanders. "We cannot allow these humans to defeat us," he said, frustration evident in his voice. "They are using their surroundings to their advantage. We must change our strategy." The commanders nodded, but doubt lingered in the air. "We have advanced weapons and technology," one commander argued. "Why are we struggling against these primitive beings?" Zaloth slammed his fist on the table, making the room tremble. "Because we underestimated them. We thought they would cower and surrender. Now we must adapt or risk losing this battle." Back on the ground, the humans were not resting. They were using every moment to plan their next move. They had discovered that the apex predators relied heavily on their technology. If they could find a way to disrupt it, they could level the playing field. A clever member of Sarah's group, a young man named Mike, proposed a daring idea. What if we create a distraction? We could draw their attention away from one area while another group sneaks in to sabotage their equipment. Sarah considered the plan. That could work. If we can disable their ships, we can stop their reinforcements. We need to be quick and smart about this. With a renewed sense of purpose, the humans split into two groups. One would create the distraction, while the other would sneak toward the alien ships. As night fell, they put their plan into action. In the dark, they moved silently, avoiding detection. The distraction group began throwing stones and making loud noises in another part of the city. The apex predators, curious and concerned, diverted their attention to investigate. This was the moment the other group had been waiting for. Sarah led her team toward the nearest alien ship, their hearts racing. They reached the massive vessel and found a weak point in its defense. Working together, they used makeshift tools to pry open a door. Inside, they quickly located the control room. "This is it!" Mike exclaimed, eyes wide with excitement. "If we can shut down their systems, we'll have a better chance." They got to work, pressing buttons and pulling levers, trying to figure out how the alien technology operated. Just then, alarms blared through the ship, signaling that they had been discovered. "Hurry!" Sarah shouted, adrenaline pumping through her veins. With a final push, they managed to disable several key systems. The ship shook violently, lights flickered, and the alien technology began to fail. The distraction group had successfully drawn the aliens away, allowing Sarah's team to escape just in time. Back outside, the apex predators were in disarray. Their ships were losing power, and confusion spread among their ranks. "What's happening?" Zaloth shouted, realizing their advantage was slipping away. The humans watched in awe as their plan unfolded. They had turned the tide of the battle once again. The apex predators, who had come to conquer, were now struggling to maintain control. The humans had shown them that they were far more resilient than anyone had expected. As the night deepened, it became clear that the apex predators were beginning to regret underestimating humanity. They had entered the fight, believing victory was assured, but now they faced a fierce resistance that refused to back down. The battle for Earth was far from over, and the humans were ready to fight for their home with everything they had. As dawn broke over the battlefield, the air was thick with tension. The clash between the apex predators and humans had reached a critical point. After days of fierce fighting, both sides were exhausted, but the humans were gaining confidence. They had shown that they could stand up to the powerful alien invaders, and their victories were fueling their determination. In the command center of the alien flagship, Zaloth paced back and forth, frustration etched on his face. His once mighty forces were now struggling. The humans had proven to be far more resilient than he had ever anticipated. "We need a new plan," he growled, looking at his commanders. "We cannot allow these creatures to win." Meanwhile, on the ground, Sarah and her group were gathered in a hidden spot, discussing their next steps. "We've done well so far, but we need to take this fight to the next level," Sarah said, her voice steady. "We can't just defend, we need to go on the offensive." Mike, the clever young man from her team, nodded in agreement. "What if we launch a surprise attack on one of their key positions? If we can disrupt their command, we might throw them into chaos." The group fell silent, considering the idea. A surprise attack could change the course of the battle, but it was risky. "We have to act fast," Sarah urged. "If we wait too long, they might regroup and strengthen their defenses." As they moved toward the alien command post, they kept to the shadows, using the buildings for cover. The air was tense with anticipation. Sarah led her team, her heart pounding in her chest. "Stay focused," she whispered. "We can do this." When they reached the command post, they found it lightly guarded. The apex predators were overconfident, believing their technology would keep them safe. Sarah and her team sprang into action, surprising the guards and quickly taking them down. Inside the command post, chaos erupted. The humans worked swiftly, disabling the alien equipment and causing confusion among the ranks. Zaloth, still in his flagship, received alarming reports from his soldiers. "What is happening?" he demanded, frustration boiling over. The humans, fueled by their recent successes, moved quickly. They set off explosives that they had prepared in advance. The explosions rocked the command post, sending debris flying and alarms blaring. The apex predators scrambled to regain control, but the humans were relentless. As the fight intensified, a pivotal moment occurred. One of the human soldiers, a brave young woman named Ella, spotted Zaloth's command room. "If we can take him out, it could turn the tide of the battle," she shouted. Without hesitation, Ella charged forward, her determination shining through. Sarah watched as she fought her way toward the command room, inspiring others to follow. "Let's go!" Sarah yelled, rallying her team. They pressed forward, following Ella into the heart of the enemy base. Zaloth, sensing danger, stood in his command room, barking orders. But as the door burst open, he found himself face to face with the very humans he had underestimated. "You dare enter here?" he sneered, raising his weapon. Ella stood tall, her heart racing. "We will fight for our planet. You will not win today." With a fierce determination, she lunged at Zaloth. The two engaged in a fierce struggle, embodying the battle between two worlds. The other humans poured into the room, overwhelming the alien forces. In a moment of chaos, Zaloth realized that he was losing control. As Zaloth fought to regain his footing, a human soldier managed to disable his weapon. The alien leader staggered back, realizing that this was the turning point he had feared. The apex predators were crumbling under the human onslaught. In that moment, a wave of energy surged through the humans. They could feel victory within their grasp. Together, they pushed forward, driving the apex predators into retreat. Zaloth's confidence had shattered, and he could only watch as his forces fell apart. The humans had turned the tide of the battle, proving that they were not to be underestimated. This fight was not just for survival, it was a fight for their freedom. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the humans stood united, ready to continue their battle against the apex predators, who now realized that their invasion had awakened a force they could not easily defeat. The sun shone brightly over the battlefield as the dust began to settle. The sounds of conflict had faded, replaced by the weary breaths of the humans who had fought valiantly to protect their home. The apex predators, once confident in their strength, were now in full retreat. Their arrogance had blinded them to the true power of humanity. Sarah and her friends gathered in the heart of the city, taking a moment to catch their breath. The air was filled with a mixture of victory and exhaustion. "We did it!" Mike shouted, his face beaming with pride. "We actually pushed them back." The others cheered, their spirits lifted. But Sarah knew that the battle was not yet over. "We must stay alert," she warned. "They may regroup and return. We can't let our guard down now." Meanwhile, in the remnants of the apex predator's command post, Zaloth seethed with anger and humiliation. He had underestimated humanity, and it had cost him dearly. His forces were scattered, and many of his best soldiers had fallen in battle. "We will not be defeated by these creatures," he growled, rallying his remaining commanders. "They have learned a hard lesson today, but so have we. We must adapt and strike back." The alien commanders nodded, their expressions tense. They realized that the humans were more than just simple beings. They were fierce and unpredictable. Zaloth devised a plan to regain control, vowing to return stronger than before. Back on Earth, the humans began to rebuild. They were battered but filled with hope. "We need to fortify our defenses," Sarah said, looking at her friends. "If they come back, we must be ready." They worked tirelessly, gathering supplies and strengthening their positions. The unity among the humans grew as they shared their stories of bravery and sacrifice. Each person contributed, knowing that they were fighting for their future. Days passed, and the humans remained vigilant. They had won a significant battle, but they knew the war was far from over. As night fell, the skies darkened, and a sense of unease settled over the city. Suddenly, alarms blared, signaling an incoming attack. The humans quickly gathered their weapons and took their positions. Fear gripped their hearts, but they remembered their previous victories. "We can do this!" Sarah shouted, trying to keep everyone focused. "We faced them before! We can face them again!" The apex predators arrived, their ships filling the sky like a dark storm. Zaloth led the charge, determined to reclaim his honor. This time he had come prepared. He unleashed a barrage of powerful weaponry, targeting the human defenses with deadly precision. The humans fought back with everything they had. They had learned from their past encounters and were ready for the fight. The sounds of explosions and gunfire echoed through the air as both sides clashed once more. Sarah and her friends fought bravely, but the apex predators were relentless. In the midst of the chaos, Zaloth saw an opportunity. He directed his forces to attack the heart of the human defenses, aiming to crush their spirit. "Now is our chance to teach them a lesson they will never forget," he shouted to his commanders. But Sarah refused to give in. She led her team to the front lines, pushing back against the advancing aliens. "We cannot let them break us," she yelled, rallying her friends. "This is our home, and we will fight for it." As the battle raged on, the humans realized they had a new strength: unity. They fought not just for survival, but for each other. With every fallen comrade, their resolve only grew stronger. They pushed back against the apex predators, refusing to back down. Finally, in a climactic moment, Sarah spotted Zaloth amidst the chaos. She made her way through the battle, determined to confront the alien leader. As she neared him, she felt a surge of energy and purpose. "You underestimated us once," she shouted, locking eyes with Zaloth. "You will not make the same mistake again." In that moment, the tide began to shift. The humans rallied together, channeling their strength into one final push. They fought with everything they had, and Zaloth felt the weight of his mistakes pressing down on him. He realized that humanity was not just a target. They were a force that could not be ignored. As the battle reached its peak, the apex predators began to falter. Zaloth, feeling the pressure, ordered a retreat. "We will come back," he shouted, but the humans knew they had won this fight. In the aftermath, as the sun rose once again, the humans stood together, bruised but unbroken. They had learned a valuable lesson themselves, that together they were stronger than any invader. They had faced down their fears and emerged victorious, ready to protect their home against any threat that might come their way.